Hello, wonderful learners. Welcome back to another episode of English in Advance. I am your host, Jessica, and I am so incredibly happy to have you here with me today. Whether you are listening to this while you are driving to work, cooking a delicious dinner for your family, or just relaxing on your sofa with a warm cup of tea, I want you to know that you are doing something amazing for yourself right now. You are taking a step forward. You are deciding to improve your English skills, and that is something to be proud of. Today we are going to dive deep into one of the most important and sometimes the most difficult skills in learning a new language. We are going to talk about listening. Yes, listening skills. I know that many of you struggle with this. You might be able to read English very well, and you might even be able to write perfect emails, but when you hear a native speaker talking fast, it can feel like a wall of sound. Do you ever feel like everyone is speaking too quickly? Do you ever feel like you know the words on paper, but you just cannot hear them when they are spoken? If you answered yes, then you are in the perfect place. Today we are going to practice everyday English listening together. We are going to train your ears to hear the details, the small sounds, and the connections that native speakers use all the time. Before we get started, I want to remind you to subscribe to the channel if you have not done so yet. By subscribing, you support this community and you make sure that you never miss a lesson that could change the way you speak and understand English. So please hit that subscribe button and let us grow together. Now let us take a deep breath and get ready to focus. Listening is not just about hearing words. It is about understanding the rhythm and the flow of the language. Imagine English is like music. When you listen to a song, you do not just hear individual notes one by one. You hear a melody. Spoken English is exactly the same. When native speakers talk, we do not speak like robots. We do not say every word separately with a pause in between. We connect words. We slide sounds together. We make the language flow like a river. This is why it can be so hard for learners. You are listening for separate bricks, but we are building a wall where everything is stuck together. Today, I want to help you see the mortar between the bricks. I want to help you understand how we connect those words so that next time you hear a fast sentence, you will smile because you will understand it perfectly. Let us start with a very common situation. Think about your daily routine. Think about the things you do every single day. Maybe you go to the grocery store. Maybe you take the bus. Maybe you order a coffee. Let us focus on that coffee shop scenario for a moment. This is a classic example of everyday English. Imagine you are walking into a cafe. It is noisy. There is music playing in the background. The coffee machine is making loud hissing sounds. People are chatting at the tables. You walk up to the counter and the barista looks at you. Now, in a textbook, the conversation might look very simple. The book says the barista asks, "What would you like to drink?" And you answer, "I would like a coffee, please." But in real life, it sounds very different. The barista might say something that sounds like, "What can I getcha? Did you hear that?" What can I getcha? It happens so fast. Let us break that down together because this is the secret to improving your listening. The barista is actually saying, "What can I get for you?" But look at what happens to the sounds. The word for becomes fur. The word you blends with, get, and becomes getcha. So instead of "what can I get for you," it becomes "what can I getcha?" This is called connected speech. It is perfectly normal and everyone does it. It does not mean they are being lazy. It is just the natural rhythm of English. So I want you to practice this with me right now. I want you to listen, and then I want you to say it out loud wherever you are. Ready? Listen closely. What can I getcha? Now you try it. Say it out loud. What can I getcha? Very good. Let us try it one more time. What can I getcha? Excellent. When you start to speak this way yourself, you will find it much easier to understand others when they speak this way to you. Now let us continue with this coffee shop story. You are standing there, and the barista has just asked you what you want. Now it is your turn to speak. You want a medium latte with oat milk. In your head, you are translating from your native language. You are thinking of the grammar. You are thinking, I want a medium latte. But native speakers often use short phrases or reductions. You might say, I will have a medium latte. But listen to how I say I will. I say I'll. I'll have a medium latte. The sound is very soft. Sometimes you barely hear the L sound at all. It almost sounds like, I have. Listen closely. I'll have a medium latte. Now let us look at the word medium. In American English, the D in medium is soft, but sometimes people speak so fast they barely pronounce the middle. But let us look at a better example of reduction in this sentence. Let us say, you want to say, I am going to get a muffin too. I am going to. That is the textbook grammar. But in spoken English, especially in a casual place like a coffee shop, we almost always say gonna. I'm gonna get a muffin. I want you to really focus on that word gonna. It is the informal version of going to. You will hear this everywhere. In movies, in songs, in podcasts, and definitely in coffee shops. If you are waiting to hear the word going and the word to clearly pronounced, you might miss the meaning of the sentence because the speaker has already moved on. So let us practice this reduction. I want you to say it with me. I'm gonna get a muffin. Try it. I'm gonna get a muffin. Good job. Now let us put it all together in a little dialogue. I will play the role of the barista and the customer. I want you to close your eyes if you can and just listen. Visualize the scene. Smell the coffee. Hear the noise of the shop. Here we go. Hi there, what can I get ya? I'll have a large black coffee and I'm gonna grab a cookie too. Anything else for you? No, that is all, thanks. Did you catch all of that? Let us listen to it one more time, but this time I will slow it down just a little bit. Hi there, what can I get ya? I'll have a large black coffee and I'm going to grab a cookie too. Anything else for you? No, that is all thanks. Now did you notice the end? That is all thanks. The word that and is often blend together. That's all. That's all. It flows as one sound. This is the beauty of everyday English listening practice. It is not about learning big, complicated vocabulary words. It is about becoming comfortable with the simple words when they are glued together. It is about relaxing your brain so you do not panic when you hear a fast sentence. Let us switch topics for a moment and talk about another very common situation. Talking about your weekend or your plans. This is something friends do all the time. Imagine you are meeting a friend for lunch. You sit down and the first thing they ask is usually about your life. They might ask, how have you been? But listen to how that sounds in real life. How have you been? The word have gets reduced to just a V sound. How have you been? Sometimes it is even faster. It sounds like how you been. If you are listening for the word have you might be confused. But if you know the rhythm, you understand immediately. So let us practice that. How have you been? Repeat after me. How have you been? It is almost like one single word. How have you been? Now imagine you want to answer. You want to say, I have been busy working. Again, we use contractions. I've been busy working. But let us make it more interesting. Let us say you did something fun. You want to say, I went to the cinema on Saturday. Listen to the phrase went to. When we speak quickly, especially in American English, the T at the end of went and the T at the start of to blend together. We do not say, I went to the cinema with two strong bursts of air. We say, I wenta. It sounds a little bit like wenta. I went to the cinema. Listen closely. I went to the cinema. It is smoother. It is faster. It takes less energy to say. That is why we do it. Language always tries to be efficient. We want to get the meaning across as quickly and easily as possible. So when you are listening, do not look for perfection. Look for the flow. I know that this can feel overwhelming sometimes. You might feel like there are so many rules to learn about how sounds change. But the good news is that there are actually only a few main patterns. Once you learn these patterns, you will start hearing them everywhere. One of the biggest patterns is what we call the schwa sound. It is a very small, relaxed sound, like It is the most common sound in the English language. We use it in almost every sentence. For example, look at the word banana. We do not say ba-na-na with three strong A sounds. We say buh-na-na. The first and the last A are just tiny sounds. Buh-na-na. This happens in sentences too. Look at the word to. I am going to the store. We usually pronounce it as to. I am going to the store. Or look at the word for, is this for me? We say for. Is this for me? Understanding the schwa is like finding the key to a locked door. Suddenly, everything opens up. When you stop expecting clear vowels in every word and start expecting these relaxed sounds, your listening comprehension will skyrocket. Let us try a practice sentence with the schwa sound. I want you to listen to this sentence. I can do it for you. Now listen to how I say it naturally. I do it for you. The word can sounds like can. The word for sounds like fur. I undo it for you. It is rhythmic. Da 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 da. I undo it for you. Try saying that. Do not stress the small words. Stress the big words like do and you. I undo it for you. This is crucial for listening. In English, we have stress-timed rhythm. This means that some syllables are long and loud and others are short and quiet. If you try to listen to every syllable with equal attention, you will get tired very quickly. You need to focus on the stressed words, the nouns, the verbs, the adjectives, the important information words, the little grammar words like can, for, at, to, and they usually fly by very quickly. They are the background music. The stressed words are the main singer. Focus on the singer. Let us practice identifying the stressed words. I am going to give you a sentence and I want you to guess which words are the most important. Which words carry the meaning? Here is the sentence. My brother bought a new car yesterday. Listen again. My brother bought a new car yesterday. If I only said brother bought new car yesterday, you would understand the whole story. But if I only said my A, you would understand nothing. So when you are listening to a fast speaker, do not panic if you miss the little words. If you catch brother, bought, new car yesterday, you have won. You have understood the message. Let us try another one. This is a bit longer. Listen carefully. I was thinking about going to the beach, but it started raining. Listen again. I was thinking about going to the beach, but it started raining. What are the key words here? Thinking, going, beach, started, raining. Those are the words that pop out. Those are the words that are louder and longer. The other words, like I was about to the but it, are super fast and quiet. Let us try to say it with that rhythm. I was thinking about going to the beach, but it started raining. Can you feel the bounce? English has a bounce. It goes up and down. If you can feel that bounce in your own body, you will hear it better when others speak. I want to tell you a quick story about when I was learning a second language. I remember feeling so frustrated. I would watch a movie and I would understand maybe 10%. I felt like giving up. I thought that maybe I was just not smart enough. But then I realized that I was trying to translate every single word in my head. I was acting like a computer. But humans are not computers. We are emotional beings. We communicate with context. We communicate with tone of voice. So I stopped trying to translate everything. I just let the sounds wash over me. I focused on the emotion. Was the speaker angry? Was he happy? Was he asking a question? And slowly, bit by bit, the words started to make sense. I want you to have that same patience with yourself. Do not judge yourself if you do not understand immediately. Just keep listening. Keep your ears open. The understanding will come. One of the best ways to improve your everyday English listening is to use a technique called shadowing. You might have heard of this before, but it is truly powerful. Shadowing means you listen to a piece of audio and you repeat it immediately after the speaker, almost like an echo. You do not wait for the sentence to finish. You speak along with them. This helps you mimic the speed and the rhythm. We are going to try a tiny bit of shadowing right now. I am going to say a sentence slowly, and I want you to say it with me at the same time. We will do it 3 times. The sentence is, I really enjoy learning English every day. Okay, let us go. I really enjoy learning English every day. Again, I really enjoy learning English every day. One more time, a little faster. I really enjoy learning English every day. Did you feel how your mouth had to move to keep up? That physical connection to the sound helps your brain process listening much faster. You can do this with my podcasts anytime. You can rewind 10 seconds and try to shadow me. It is a fantastic workout for your mouth and your ears. Now let us talk about another aspect of listening, which is vocabulary. Sometimes you do not understand because you simply do not know the word. That is okay. That is part of learning. But often you actually know the word, but you do not recognize it because of the pronunciation. We talked about this with connected speech, but it also happens with word endings. For example, past tense verbs, the ed ending. It can sound like a T or a D or an ID sound. If you expect to hear walk-ed, you will be confused because we say walked with a T sound. I walked to the store. It sounds like walked. If you are listening for 2 syllables, walk-ed, you will miss it. Let us listen to a few past tense verbs. Stopped. Sounds like a T. Stopped. Played. Sounds like a D. Played. Wanted. This one has the extra syllable. Wanted. Being able to hear these endings tells you when something happened. It gives you the time frame. So when you listen, pay attention to the ends of the words. That is often where the grammar hides. We are going to do a little challenge now. I am going to describe a simple picture, and I want you to build that picture in your mind. This is great for visualization and listening comprehension. Are you ready? Here is the picture. Imagine a small wooden house. It is sitting on top of a green hill. The sun is setting behind the house, so the sky is orange and pink. There is a big oak tree next to the house. Under the tree, there is a bicycle leaning against the trunk. Can you see it? Let us go through the details. Did you hear wooden house? Did you hear green hill? Did you hear orange and pink sky? Did you hear the bicycle? This kind of active listening where you visualize the story is very effective. It keeps your brain engaged. If you just listen passively, your mind might wander. You might start thinking about what you need to buy for dinner. But if you visualize, you stay focused. You stay in the English zone. I want to encourage you to make listening a daily habit. It does not have to be for an hour. It can be for 5 minutes. Consistency is much more important than intensity. If you listen to English for 5 minutes every morning while you brush your teeth, that is better than studying for 3 hours once a month. Your brain needs constant exposure. It needs to be reminded that English is important. Think of your brain like a muscle. If you go to the gym once a month, nothing happens. But if you do a little bit of exercise every day, you get strong. Your listening skills are exactly the same. You need to train your ears every single day, and the best material is the material you enjoy. If you like cooking, listen to cooking shows in English. If you like soccer, listen to sports commentary. If you like science, listen to science podcasts. When you are interested in the topic, you try harder to understand. You are more motivated. Let us go back to our everyday situations. We talked about the coffee shop. What about talking on the phone? Talking on the phone is one of the hardest things to do in a second language because you cannot see the person's face. You cannot see their lips moving. You have to rely 100% on your ears. This can be scary, but there are phrases that can help you. If you do not understand, do not just say nothing. Use phrases like, "Could you say that again, please?" Or, "Sorry, I didn't catch that." Or, "Could you speak a little slower, please?" These are magic phrases. They give you power. They give you time. Native speakers are usually very happy to repeat themselves if they know you are learning. Never be afraid to ask for clarification. It shows that you care about understanding. It shows respect. Let us practice a phone call scenario. Imagine the phone rings. You pick it up. Hello. The person on the other side speaks very fast. They say, "Hi, is Jessica there? I have a package for her." "Whoa, too fast. You missed it." You say, "I am sorry. Could you repeat that, please?" The person says it again. "Is Jessica there? I have a package for her." "Ah, now you hear it." Package. Jessica. You understand. You say, "Yes, this is Jessica." "Great. I will leave it at the door. Thanks, bye." It is a short interaction, but it requires confidence. The confidence comes from practice. The more you listen to these fake scenarios, the more ready you will be for the real ones. We are coming to the end of this first part of our deep dive into listening skills. I hope you are already feeling a little more aware of how English sounds. We have talked about connected speech. We have talked about the schwa sound. We have talked about stress and rhythm. And we have practiced a few scenarios. But remember, this is just the beginning. Improving your listening is a journey. It takes time. It takes patience. But every time you listen, you are getting better. Even if you do not feel it, your brain is learning. Your brain is absorbing the patterns. So trust the process. In the next part of this series, we are going to go even deeper. We are going to look at more complex situations like listening to the news and understanding different accents. We will also talk about how to use movies and TV shows to learn English effectively without getting frustrated. You do not want to miss that. It is going to be packed with more examples and more practice. So please make sure you are subscribed to English in advance so you get notified as soon as the next episode is available. Before I go, I have a small homework assignment for you. Yes, I am a teacher, so I have to give you homework, but it is easy homework. I want you to eavesdrop. That means I want you to listen to a conversation in English if you can. Maybe in a public place, or maybe just turn on the radio or a YouTube video for 2 minutes. Close your eyes and just listen to the music of the language. Do not try to understand every word. Just listen to the rhythm. Is it fast? Is it slow? Where are the pauses? Just observe. And then come back and tell me in the comments what you noticed. I love reading your comments and hearing about your progress. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I know you have many choices, and I appreciate that you chose to learn with me. You are doing great work. Keep listening, keep practicing, and most importantly, keep believing in yourself. You have got this. I will see you very soon in the next part of our series. Until then, take care and happy listening. Hello and welcome back to part 2 of our special series on improving your English listening skills here on English in Advance. I am your host, Jessica, and I am thrilled to have you here with me again. If you joined us for part 1, you know that we started our journey by looking at the foundations of listening. We talked about connected speech, the rhythm of English, and how words change when we speak them quickly in everyday situations like a coffee shop. Today we are going to take the next step. We are going to move from simple interactions to slightly more complex listening situations. We are going to explore how to understand different accents, how to listen to formal English like the news, and how to use emotions to understand what someone is really saying. If you are just joining us now, welcome to the family. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel so you can catch up on all our lessons and never miss a beat. For everyone returning, I am so proud of your dedication. Showing up is half the battle, and you are already winning just by being here and pressing play. So settle in, get comfortable, and let us train those ears. Let us begin today by talking about something that scares a lot of English learners. Accents. I hear this all the time from my students. They tell me, Jessica, I can understand you perfectly, but when I hear a British person or an Australian person or even someone from a different part of the United States, I get lost. This is completely normal. English is a global language, and it is spoken in thousands of different ways. Even native speakers sometimes struggle to understand accents they are not used to. The key to mastering accents is not to try to learn every single one perfectly. The key is to expose your ears to variety. If you only ever listen to one teacher or one podcast host, your brain gets lazy. It gets used to that one person's voice, and it stops working hard to decode sounds. You need to challenge your brain. Let us look at the biggest difference you will likely encounter, which is the difference between general American English and standard British English. There are many differences, but the most noticeable one for listening is the R sound. In most American accents, we pronounce the R wherever it appears in the word. We call this rhotic. For example, listen to the word car. Car. You can hear that R curling at the end, or the word hard. Hard. You hear the R in the middle. Now, in many British accents, specifically the standard ones like received pronunciation, they often drop the R if it comes after a vowel. So car becomes H. Hard becomes ha'adi. It is a more open sound. If you are expecting to hear that strong R and you do not hear it, you might think the person is saying a different word. Let us practice this difference right now. I want you to be flexible with your ears. I am going to say a sentence in an American style, and then I will try to say it in a British style. I want you to notice the difference. The sentence is, I parked the car near the park. Listen to the American version first. I parked the car near the park. You hear all those R sounds growling. Parked, car, park. Now listen to the British version. I parked the car near the park. Pot, ka, pak. It sounds softer. It sounds more open. If you are listening to a British speaker and you hear pak, your brain needs to quickly map that to the word park. The best way to get good at this is to listen to content from different countries. Do not just stick to Hollywood movies. Watch a British drama. Listen to an Australian news report. Speaking of Australia, let us touch on that briefly. Australian English has some very unique vowel sounds. The A sound often changes. For example, the word day in American English sounds like day. In Australian English, it can sound a bit more like die. So if an Australian says "G'day, mate," it sounds like "good eye." If you are not prepared for that vowel shift, you might be confused. But once you know the pattern, it becomes easy. Patterns are your best friends in language learning. Once you identify a pattern, you stop hearing noise and you start hearing meaning. I encourage you to go to YouTube or a podcast app and specifically search for English speakers from different regions. Just listen for 5 minutes. Do not worry about understanding every word. Just listen to the music of their accent. Ask yourself, how is this different from what I usually hear? That curiosity will help you improve much faster than just studying grammar rules. Now I want to transition to another major area of listening, which is formal English and specifically the news. Listening to the news is a fantastic way to practice because the speakers are professional. They speak clearly, and they usually follow a very specific structure. However, the vocabulary can be difficult, and the speed can be quite fast. News anchors read from a teleprompter, so they do not have the natural pauses and hesitations that regular people have. They speak in long, flowing sentences. This can feel like a train that never stops. But there is a trick to understanding the news. The trick is to listen for the headlines and the summary first. Usually, the first sentence of a news report tells you the whole story. The rest is just detail. Let us try a simulation. I am going to act like a news anchor for a moment. I want you to listen to this short report and tell me what the main idea is. Do not get stuck on the details. Just catch the main event. Here we go. Breaking news today as a massive storm approaches the coast, bringing heavy rain and strong winds to the entire region. Residents are advised to stay indoors and prepare for potential power outages. Schools and businesses will remain closed until further notice. Okay, let us break that down. What was the main idea? A storm is coming. That is it. If you understood storm and coming, you got the most important information. You might have missed the words residents or potential or outages. That is okay. Did you hear the advice? Stay indoors. Did you hear the consequence? Schools closed. When you listen to the news, try to answer the W questions. Who, what, where, when, why. If you can answer 2 or 3 of those, you have succeeded. Let us try another one. This one is a bit more business-focused. Listen carefully. Tech giant Global Corp announced record profits this quarter, driven by the unexpected success of their new smartphone model. The company's stock price jumped 10% immediately following the announcement, making investors very happy. Let us analyze this. Who is it about, Global Corp? What happened? Record profits. Why? New smartphone. What was the result? Stock price jumped. Even if you do not know what quarter means in a business context, or if you do not know the exact meaning of driven by, You can surely understand that a company made a lot of money because of a new phone. This is called listening for the gist. The gist means the general meaning. In real life, the gist is often all you need. Do not obsess over every single word. If you understand 60% but you get the main idea, you are doing great. Another very important aspect of listening that we often forget about is tone and emotion. Sometimes the words people say are not as important as how they say them. English speakers use intonation to carry meaning. Intonation is the melody of the voice. It goes up and it goes down. If I say the word really with a falling tone, like really, it means I believe you or I agree. It sounds like a statement. Really. But if I say it with a rising tone like really, it means I am surprised or maybe I doubt what you are saying. Really. The word is the same, the spelling is the same, but the meaning is completely different. Let us practice this because it is crucial for social interactions. If you miss the tone, you might miss a joke, or you might not realize someone is being sarcastic. Listen to this sentence, great job. If I say it with energy and a high pitch, great job. You know I am sincere. I am happy for you. But listen to this version, great job. My voice is flat. It is low. Maybe I am rolling my eyes. Great job. This is sarcasm. It actually means you did a bad job. Or maybe I made a mess and I am saying it to myself. If you only look at the words great and job in the dictionary, you will think it is a compliment. But your ears need to hear the emotion to know the truth. I want you to try this. I want you to take the word okay, just a simple word, okay. I want you to say it in 3 different ways. First, say it like you are agreeing to do something you are happy about. Okay? It sounds bright. Okay. Now say it like you are agreeing to do something you do not want to do. You are tired. Okay? It is long and flat. Okay. Now say it like you are waiting for someone to continue speaking, like you are listening. Okay? It goes up a little at the end. Okay? Can you hear how flexible the language is? When you are listening to English, try to focus on the speaker's face and their voice pitch. Are they tense? Are they relaxed? This context gives you huge clues about the meaning. Now let us talk about movies and TV shows. This is probably the most fun way to learn English listening. But it can also be the most frustrating if you do not do it right. Many students put on a movie in English, watch it for 5 minutes, get a headache because they do not understand, and turn it off. Or they turn on the subtitles in their native language and they just read the movie instead of watching it. If you are reading subtitles in your own language, you are not practicing English listening. You are practicing reading in your own language. The sound becomes just background noise. So how do we use movies effectively? I recommend a technique called active watching. This means you are not watching the movie just to relax. You are watching it to study. Choose a scene, just one scene, maybe 3 minutes long. Watch it first without any subtitles. Just try to get the gist. Who are the people? Where are they? Are they happy or sad? Then watch it again with English subtitles. This is key, English subtitles. Now you can match the sounds you hear to the words on the screen. You might realize, oh, that sound was actually the word interesting. I didn't recognize it. Then, and this is the hard part, watch it a 3rd time without subtitles again. Now that you know the words, try to hear them. Your brain will start to connect the dots. I also want to suggest that you watch things you have already seen before. If you have a favorite movie that you have watched 10 times in your native language, watch it in English. Since you already know the story, you do not have to stress about what is happening. You know that the hero is going to save the day. This frees up your brain to focus entirely on the language. You can relax and just listen to how they express ideas that you are already familiar with. This is a very low-stress way to improve. Let us try a little practice with a narrative story. I am going to tell you a short story about a travel experience. I want you to listen for the sequence of events. Words like first, then, after that, finally. These are signpost words. They tell you where you are in the story. If you hear these words, pay attention because a new piece of information is coming. Here is the story. Last summer, I decided to go on a solo trip to Italy. First, I flew into Rome and spent 3 days exploring the ancient ruins. It was incredibly hot but beautiful. Then I took a train to Florence. The train ride was smooth and I saw the beautiful countryside. After that, I rented a car and drove through Tuscany. This was the best part of the trip because I could stop whenever I wanted. Finally, I ended my trip in Venice where I rode a gondola. It was the perfect end to a perfect vacation. Did you follow the path? Rome first, then Florence, then Tuscany, finally Venice. The words first, then, after that, finally helped you organize the information in your head. When you are listening to someone tell a story, listen for these transition words. They are like road signs. They help you navigate the conversation. Other transition words to listen for are however, but, and on the other hand, these tell you that a contrast is coming. For example, if I say, I love swimming, however, you know immediately that I am going to say something negative about swimming, or a condition where I do not like it. I love swimming, however, I hate cold water. The word however signals the turn. Being alert to these small words helps you predict what is coming next, and prediction is a huge part of being a good listener. Let us go deeper into prediction. When we listen in our native language, we are always predicting what the person will say next. If someone says, I am so hungry, I could eat a... Your brain probably screams horse or sandwich or pizza. You do not expect them to say shoe. Because of this prediction, you do not have to listen as hard. You can relax. In English, you need to build this same ability. You can practice this by pausing. Listen to a podcast or a video. Pause it in the middle of a sentence. Try to guess what the next word or phrase will be. It does not have to be exact. It just has to make sense. For example, let us try it. I am going to start a sentence and stop. I want you to finish it. I woke up late this morning, so I missed the... What did I miss? Probably the bus, or the train, or breakfast, or the meeting. Any of those would fit. If the next word was elephant, you would be shocked. This exercise helps your brain get into the flow of English grammar and logic. Let us try another one. It was raining really hard, so I took my... What did I take? Umbrella, raincoat, car. These are the logical answers. By actively predicting, you are engaging with the language on a deeper level. You are not just a passive receiver, you are an active participant. I also want to talk about the speed of listening. Many learners panic when they hear fast English. They freeze. I want to tell you that it is okay to ask people to slow down, but you cannot ask a movie or a podcast to slow down unless you change the settings. Actually, that is a great tip. Most podcast players and YouTube have a speed setting. You can play audio at 0.75 speed. This slows it down just enough to make the words clearer without making it sound like a robot. There is no shame in doing this. It is a tool. Use it. Start at 0.75, and then when you feel comfortable, move up to normal speed. It is like training wheels on a bicycle. Eventually, you will take them off, but they help you learn to balance first. Let us spend a few minutes on numbers and dates. These are often very hard to catch in listening because they are specific. If you miss a number, you might miss the price or the time of a meeting. The difference between numbers like 13 and 30 is a classic problem. 13, 30. They sound very similar. The trick is the stress. For teen numbers like 13, 14, 15, the stress is usually on the second syllable. 13, 14. For the 10 numbers like 30, 40, 50, the stress is on the first syllable. 30, 40. Listen to the difference. I have $13. I have $30. Can you hear the bounce? Up for teen, down for tie. Let us practice this. I am going to say a number, and I want you to decide if it is a teen number or a tie number. Ready? 15. That was 15. 60. That was 60. 80. That was 80. 19. That was 19. It is subtle, but it is there. Also in American English, the T in numbers like 30 and 40 often sounds like a D. So 30 sounds like 30. 40 sounds like 40. But in 13 and 14, the T is usually clear. So if you hear a soft D sound, it is probably the bigger number. 30, 40, 50, 60. Now let us look at dates. Americans usually say the month, then the day. January 1st. Europeans usually say the day, then the month. The 1st of January. You need to be ready for both. Also years. We rarely say 2024. We usually split it, 2024 or 1999. If you are listening for 2000, you might miss it. Listen to this sentence. My birthday is on March 2nd, 1990. I did not say 1990. That is too long. 1990. Learning to hear these shortcuts will make your life much easier. I want to revisit the idea of context clues. Imagine you are listening to a conversation about cooking. You hear the word flour. Now you know the word flower like the plant in the garden. They sound exactly the same, but because they are talking about baking a cake, your brain should automatically select the white powder flour and not the red rose flour. This seems obvious, but in the moment, it can be confusing. Trust the topic. If the topic is sports and you hear bat, it is the baseball equipment, not the animal that flies at night. Always keep the big picture in your mind. The big picture helps you solve the small puzzles of individual words. Let us practice with a context scenario. I will read a few sentences. I want you to guess the location. Where are these people? Here is the first one. Excuse me, do you have this in a size medium? The blue one is too tight. Where are they? They are in a clothing store. Words like size, medium, tight gave it away. Here is another one. Please fasten your seatbelt and return your tray table to the upright position. We are preparing for landing. Where are they? On an airplane. Phrases like seatbelt, tray table, landing make it clear. One more. I need to make a withdrawal. Can I use this machine or do I need to go to the teller? Where are they? At a bank. Withdrawal, machine, teller. This is listening for keywords. You do not need to understand every grammatical structure to know where the conversation is happening. As we move through this journey of listening, I want you to remember that it is also about endurance. Listening takes a lot of mental energy. It is tiring. If you feel exhausted after 20 minutes of listening practice, that is a good sign. It means your brain is working hard. It means you are building new neural pathways. Do not be discouraged by the fatigue. Take a break, drink some water, and come back tomorrow. It gets easier. I promise you it gets easier. The more you do it, the less energy it takes. Eventually, you will be able to listen to English for hours without getting a headache, but you have to build that stamina. In this part of our series, we have covered a lot of ground. We talked about the tricky nature of accents and how to open your ears to them. We practiced the structure of news reports and how to find the main idea. We looked at the emotional power of intonation and how sarcasm works. We discussed active watching for movies and TV shows using subtitles strategically. We practiced predicting words and understanding numbers. This is a toolkit. These are strategies you can use every single day. I want to challenge you before the next episode to find a piece of content that is slightly too hard for you. Maybe a TED Talk or a BBC News clip. Listen to it once and accept that you might not understand much. Then use the strategies we discussed. Listen for the stressed words. Listen for the transition words. Slow it down if you need to. Watch it with subtitles and then without. Work with that one piece of content for a few days until it becomes clear. You will feel a massive sense of accomplishment when that wall of noise turns into clear, understandable English. In the next part of our series, Part 3, we are going to focus on conversational English. We are going to look at idioms, slang, and the casual phrases that friends use with each other. We will also talk about how to listen in noisy environments and how to handle group conversations, which can be very chaotic. It is going to be a lot of fun and very practical for your social life. So please make sure you are ready for it. Thank you again for trusting me with your English learning journey. I love creating these lessons for you, and I hope they are helping you feel more confident and capable. Remember, every word you learn and every sound you recognize is a victory. Celebrate those victories. You are building a skill that will open doors for the rest of your life. Keep listening, keep learning, and I will see you in the next episode. Hello and welcome back to English in Advance. I am your host, Jessica, and I am so happy to be sitting here with you again for Part 3 of our special series on mastering English listening skills. If you have been with us for the first 2 parts, you have already done some incredible work. We have covered the basics of how sounds blend together, we've looked at the rhythm of the language, and we have explored how to handle different accents and formal news reports. But today is going to be fun. Today is going to be a little bit messy. We are moving away from the clean, polite English of the classroom and the newsroom, and we are stepping into the wild world of real, casual conversation. We are going to talk about slang, idioms, phrasal verbs, and the chaos of group conversations. We are going to talk about what happens when everyone speaks at once, or when you are trying to have a conversation in a noisy restaurant. This is often the hardest part of learning a language because rules seem to disappear. But do not worry. I am here to guide you through it. I am going to give you the map to navigate this social jungle. If you are new here, please take a second to subscribe to the channel. Join our community of learners who are dedicated to taking their English to the advanced level. And for my returning listeners, thank you for your consistency. Let us dive right in. Have you ever studied English for years, learned all the grammar, memorized vocabulary lists, and then walked into a room full of native speakers at a party and felt like you understood absolutely nothing? It is a terrible feeling. You feel isolated. You feel like all your hard work was for nothing. But I want to tell you a secret. You did not waste your time. The problem is not your English. The problem is that casual conversational English is almost like a different dialect. In school, you learn the full sentences. Subject, verb, object. You learn, I would like to have a cup of coffee. But at a party, your friend might just look at you, hold up a pot of coffee and say, want some. That is it. Want some. They cut out the do you. They cut out the verb phrases. This is called ellipsis. We drop words that are obvious from the context. Let us practice listening for these dropped words. Imagine you are leaving work. A colleague looks at you and says, ready. They mean, are you ready to go? But they just say ready. Or maybe they say heading out. They mean, are you heading out? If you are waiting for the full grammar structure, you will miss the cue. In casual conversation, we are efficient. We are lazy with our tongues. We want to communicate the maximum amount of meaning with the minimum amount of effort. So when you are listening to friends chat, do not look for complete sentences. Look for fragments. Look for key words. If someone says hungry and raises their eyebrows, they are asking, are you hungry? If they say tired with a sigh, they are saying, I am tired. Context is everything. Now let us talk about the flavor of casual English, idioms and slang. These are the colorful phrases that do not translate literally. If I say to you, wow, that test was a piece of cake, and you try to translate it word for word, you will be looking for a dessert. But I am talking about an exam. Piece of cake means easy. Listening to idioms is tricky because your brain naturally wants to visualize the words. When you hear it is raining cats and dogs, your brain paints a picture of animals falling from the sky. You have to train your brain to override that image. You have to learn to hear phrases as single units of meaning. Do not hear piece and of in cake. Hear piece of cake as one word that means easy. Let us look at some very common idioms you will hear in everyday life and how to spot them. Imagine a friend says to you, I am feeling a bit under the weather today. Under the weather. This simply means sick, usually just a little sick, like a cold or a headache. Why do we say under the weather? It comes from old sailing days, but you do not need to know the history to understand the meaning. You just need to recognize the chunk. Or, how about this one? You are working on a project and it is late. Your boss says, okay, let us call it a day. Call it a day. This means let us stop working and go home. If you listen literally, it makes no sense. But if you hear the phrase, you know you are free to leave. The best way to learn these is not to memorize a dictionary of idioms. That is boring and ineffective. The best way is to learn them in situations. When you watch TV shows, pay attention to when the characters laugh or when they use a phrase that seems out of place. If two people are arguing and one says cut it out, they are not using scissors. They are saying stop it, cut it out. Listen to the emotion. Listen to the sharp tone. That tone tells you it is a command. It means stop. By connecting the phrase to the situation and the emotion, you will remember it much better. Now we have to talk about the monsters of English grammar. Phrasal verbs. These are verbs like get up, get down, get over, get out, get through. They are small, they all sound similar, and they have completely different meanings. This is a nightmare for listening comprehension, because the important part of the word is often the tiny preposition at the end. The word get by itself means to obtain or receive, but get over means to recover from something. Get by means to survive. Get along means to have a good relationship. If you miss that little word, over, by, along, you miss the whole meaning. When you are listening, you need to put extra focus on those little particles. Usually, in a phrasal verb, the stress is on the preposition. We say, I need to get up early. We do not say, I need to get up early. We say, get uppy. The energy is on the up. This is a huge clue. If you hear a verb followed by a stressed preposition, it is likely a phrasal verb. Let us try to hear the difference. Listen to these two sentences. I ran down the hill. Here, ran is the verb, and down tells you the direction. I physically ran down. Now listen to this. I ran down the list of names. Here, ran down means I checked or read through quickly. Or how about this? The battery ran down. Here it means it lost power. The context tells you which one it is. If we are talking about a hill, it is movement. If we are talking about a battery, it is power. Let us practice with the word look. Look is a very common verb, but look at how it changes. If I say I am looking for my keys, I am searching, looking for. If I say I am looking forward to the party, I am excited, looking forward to. If I say I look up to my father, I respect him, look up to, listen to the rhythm, looking for, looking forward to, look up to. The little words carry the weight. So when you listen to casual conversation, do not ignore the prepositions. They are not just grammar filler. They are the keys to the meaning. Another feature of conversational English that can be very confusing is the use of fillers. These are words like, we use these all the time. Native speakers use them constantly. They do not have any real meaning. They are just a signal that we are thinking. They are a way to hold the floor, so nobody else starts speaking while we search for the right word. For a learner, these fillers can be distracting. You might try to translate them. You hear like and you think about enjoying something. But when a teenager says, it was like totally crazy, the word like means nothing. It is just a pause. You need to learn to filter these out. Imagine you have a mental strainer. You pour the sentence through the strainer. The important words, the nouns, the verbs, the adjectives, stay in the strainer. The fillers, flow through and disappear. Let us practice this filtering. I am going to speak a messy sentence full of fillers. I want you to tell me the real message. Here is the sentence. So I was thinking that maybe we could go to the movies tonight if you want. Let us filter it. What is left? Thinking go movies tonight. That is the message. All the ums and likes are trash. Throw them away. Do not let them confuse you. Do not let them break your focus. When you realize that 30% of casual speech is just noise, it becomes much less intimidating. Now let us step into a more difficult environment. Group conversations. This is the ultimate boss fight of listening skills. You are at a dinner table with 4 friends. Everyone is talking. People are interrupting each other. People are laughing. There is background music. This is sensory overload. In a one-on-one conversation, there is a turn-taking rule. I speak, then you speak, then I speak. It is like tennis. But in a group, it is like basketball. Anyone can grab the ball at any time. People talk over each other. This is called overlapping. When 2 people speak at the same time, your brain panics. Which one do I listen to? The strategy here is to pick a target. Do not try to listen to everyone. Pick the person who seems to be telling the main story. Focus your eyes on them. Visual cues are incredibly important in group settings. Look at their lips. Look at their hands. This helps your brain isolate their voice from the background noise. It is called the cocktail party effect. Your brain actually has the ability to tune out other noises and focus on one stream of sound. But you have to tell your brain which stream to focus on. Use your eyes to direct your ears. Also, in group conversations, topics change very fast. Someone might mention a dog, and suddenly everyone is talking about their pets. And then someone mentions dog food, and then someone talks about a new restaurant. If you zone out for 10 seconds, you might be lost. The topic has jumped. To stay in the game, you have to listen for the pivots. Listen for phrases like, speaking of, or that reminds me of, or by the way. These phrases signal a topic change. If you hear speaking of restaurants, you know the dog topic is finished. We are now talking about food. Reset your brain. Access your food vocabulary. Let us simulate a group dynamic. Imagine 3 people. Person A says, I went to Paris last year. Person B interrupts and says, oh, I love Paris. The croissants are amazing. Person C jumps in with, I tried to bake croissants once. It was a disaster. Person A tries to continue. Anyway, like I was saying, I went to the Louvre. You have to follow the thread. The main story is Person A in Paris. Person B and C are adding side comments. If you try to understand every word about the baking disaster, you might miss Person A's story about the museum. Learn to identify the main speaker and treat the others as background color. Now, what about noise? Background noise. Cars honking, dishes clattering, music thumping. This makes listening physically harder because the sound waves are distorted. You are missing pieces of the words. Your brain has to fill in the gaps. This is where your prediction skills, which we talked about in part 2, become vital. If you are in a loud cafe and your friend points to a cup and says, "Fee?" Even if the first part of the word was covered by the sound of the espresso machine, you know they said coffee. You use the visual context. Here is a tip for noisy environments. Do not be afraid to use your body. Lean in. Cup your hand behind your ear. This actually helps catch more sound, but it also signals to the speaker that it is loud and they need to speak up. Most people will naturally speak louder and clearer if they see you leaning in. And if you really cannot hear, do not just smile and nod. We have all done that. We smile and say yeah when we have no idea what was said. And then we realize they asked us a question and we look foolish. Instead of faking it, use a verification strategy. Repeat back what you thought you heard. If you heard, I am going to, and then noise. And then, tomorrow, you can ask, you are going somewhere tomorrow. They will fill in the blank. They will say yes to the dentist. It is much better to ask for confirmation of the part you heard than to ask them to repeat the whole sentence. It shows you were listening, but the noise got in the way. Let us talk about the cultural aspect of listening in conversation. In English-speaking cultures, especially in the US and UK, we use a lot of back-channeling. Back-channeling means the little sounds we make to show we are listening. Sounds like, uh-huh, right? Wow, really? Oh my God. If you sit completely silent while someone is talking, they might think you do not understand or you are bored. They might stop talking, or they might start speaking very slowly like you are a child. To keep the conversation flowing and to keep the speaker speaking naturally, you need to participate with these sounds. Practice this. When you are listening to a podcast or a video, make these sounds. If the host says something surprising, say wow out loud. If they explain something, say uh-huh. It feels silly to do it alone, but it trains your reaction time. In a real conversation, these little sounds act like grease for the wheels. They keep everything moving smoothly. It also keeps you active. If you are making sounds, you are engaged. You are less likely to let your mind wander. Another tricky part of casual English is humor and sarcasm. We touched on this in part 2, but in social groups, it is everywhere. People love to tease each other. They love to make jokes. Jokes are hard because they often rely on double meanings or cultural references you might not know. If everyone laughs and you do not understand why, do not panic. It is okay to ask, "Wait, I missed the joke. What is so funny?" Usually people love to explain the joke. It gives them a chance to be funny again. Do not feel embarrassed. Humor is the final frontier of language learning. It is the last thing to click. If you do not get the jokes yet, that is fine. Focus on the literal stories first. Let us go back to slang for a moment because it changes so fast. Words that were cool 10 years ago are now old-fashioned. Words like groovy or radical are gone. Now you might hear lit or salty or ghosted. To be salty means to be bitter or angry about something small. To ghost someone means to stop texting them suddenly. You do not need to use these words. In fact, if you use them incorrectly, it can sound strange. But you need to recognize them. How do you keep up? You have to consume current media. Watch modern TV shows. Watch YouTubers who are just vlogging about their lives. They use the language of today. Textbooks are always 5 or 10 years behind. If you want to understand the English of 2024 or 2025, you have to listen to the people of 2025. I want to give you a specific exercise for group listening. Find a podcast that has multiple hosts, not just one person reading a script, but 2 or 3 friends talking. Shows like interview podcasts or comedy podcasts are great for this. Listen to how they interrupt each other. Listen to how they change topics. Try to track who is speaking. Write down their names. When voices overlap, try to just catch one phrase. This is the closest you can get to a real party simulation without leaving your house. It will be hard at first. You might feel overwhelmed. That is the point. You are training in the heavy gravity chamber so that when you go out into the real world, it feels lighter. Let us discuss the art of the interruption. In some cultures, interrupting is very rude. You must wait until the other person is completely finished. In English conversation, especially excited conversation, interruption is often a sign of interest. It is called cooperative overlap. If I am telling a story and you jump in and say, "No way, that happened to me too," you are not being rude. You are being enthusiastic. You are bonding with me. So if people interrupt you or if people talk over you, do not take it personally. They are not trying to silence you. They are trying to connect with you. When you are listening, expect these interruptions. Do not let them throw you off track. If someone interrupts the speaker, wait. Usually, the original speaker will go back to their point. They will say, "Anyway." Or as I was saying, listen for those reset markers. Let us practice a scenario involving a misunderstanding. This happens all the time. You think you heard one thing, but the reality is different. Imagine you are at a cafe with a friend. It is loud. Your friend says, "I hate watching plays." You hear, "I hate watching planes." You think planes? Why planes? You say, "Why do you hate planes?" They fly so high. Your friend looks confused. "No, plays, like theater. Hamlet." This is a minimal pair confusion. Plays and planes. The sounds are so close. In a noisy room, the N sound might get lost. How do you fix this? You use the context. You asked a follow-up question. You did not just pretend to understand. Misunderstandings are opportunities to clarify sounds. When your friend corrects you, no plays. Your brain registers the difference. You learn that in a noisy room, you need to be careful with those ending sounds. I also want to touch on the concept of vague language. In casual conversation, we use words like stuff, things, whatchamacallit, thingy. I need to buy some stuff for the house. We use these vague words when we are too lazy to be specific or when we think the other person already knows what we mean. If you are listening for specific nouns and you hear stuff, it can be frustrating. But usually, the specific item does not matter. If I say I am going to the store to get some stuff for dinner, you do not need to know if I am buying carrots or potatoes. You just need to know I am buying food. Focus on the verb, going, buying. The noun is just stuff. It is a placeholder. Accept the vagueness. Let us prepare for the final challenge of casual listening, emotional venting. Sometimes people just want to talk to get their feelings out. They speak fast, they are emotional, they repeat themselves, they use strong language. Your job as a listener here is not to analyze the grammar. It is to offer empathy. Listen for the feeling words. Angry, sad, frustrated, annoyed. Listen for the cause. My boss, my partner, the traffic, the money. If you catch the emotion and the cause, you have the keys. You can say, I am so sorry, that sounds terrible. You do not need to understand every detail of the argument they had with their boss. You just need to understand they are upset with their boss. This is empathetic listening. It is less about data and more about connection. So how do we put all this together? How do we become confident social listeners? It starts with exposure. You cannot learn to swim by reading a book about water. You have to get in the pool. You have to put yourself in situations where casual English is spoken. If you do not live in an English-speaking country, create a virtual environment. Join voice chats in gaming communities. Find conversation partners online. Listen to unscripted interviews. And when you listen, be kind to yourself. You will not understand everything. You will miss jokes. You will get lost in the noise. That is part of the process. Every time you get lost and find your way back, you get stronger. We are almost at the end of this third part. We have navigated the stormy seas of casual conversation, slang, and group dynamics. You now know that idioms are chunks of meaning, not literal puzzles. You know that phrasal verbs rely on the little preposition. You know that fillers like and like can be ignored. And you know that in a noisy group, you should focus on one speaker and use your eyes. In the final part of our series, Part 4, we are going to shift gears again. We are going to look at professional and academic English, how to listen to a lecture, how to understand a business presentation, and how to handle high-stakes listening where accuracy is critical. We will also talk about long-term strategies to keep your listening skills sharp forever. We are going to build your roadmap for the future. For your homework today, I want you to find a piece of unscripted content, maybe a talk show clip on YouTube or a podcast between two comedians. I want you to listen for 5 minutes and count how many times they interrupt each other. Count how many times they use fillers like, or, you will be shocked. It is not clean English. It is real English. And once you see the mess, you will stop being afraid of it. Thank you so much for listening. You are doing an amazing job. Learning a language is a marathon, not a sprint, and you are running a beautiful race. Keep your ears open, keep your mind curious, and do not be afraid to ask questions. I am Jessica. This is English in Advance, and I cannot wait to see you in the final episode. Until then, keep listening and take care. Hello and welcome back to the final episode of our special 4-part series on mastering English listening skills here on English in Advance. I am your host, Jessica, and I have to say I am feeling a little emotional today. We have been on quite a journey together over these last few episodes. We started with the basic building blocks of sounds and rhythm. We moved through the challenges of accents and news reports, and last time we survived the chaotic world of slang and noisy parties. Today we are reaching the summit of our mountain. We are going to talk about professional and academic English. We are going to discuss how to listen when the stakes are high, like in a business meeting, a university lecture, or a doctor's appointment. These are situations where understanding is not just nice, it is necessary. We are also going to look at the long-term road ahead. I want to give you a plan for how to keep improving your ears for the rest of your life. If you have made it this far, you are a champion. You have shown dedication and resilience. If you are just joining us for the first time, welcome to the finish line. Please hit that subscribe button so you can go back and listen to the full series. You do not want to miss the foundation we built. For everyone else, take a deep breath, clear your mind, and let us finish this strong. Let us step into the office. Business English is a unique animal. In some ways, it is easier than casual English because it is usually slower and people try to speak clearly. But in other ways, it is much harder because it is full of what we call soft language or diplomatic language. In a business setting, people rarely say exactly what they mean directly because they want to be polite. If your boss hates your idea, she will probably not say, "I hate that idea." She will say, "That is an interesting approach, but have you considered the alternatives?" If you are listening literally, you hear interesting. You think she likes it. But the word "but" is the real key. Everything before the word "but" is just politeness. Everything after the word "but" is the truth. This is critical for listening in professional environments. You have to listen for the suggestion that is actually a command. If a manager says, "It might be a good idea to send that email today," they are not giving you a choice. They are telling you to send the email today. They are just wrapping the order in soft cotton to be nice. Phrases like, "I was wondering if you could," or "it would be great if we could," are actually instructions. You need to train your ears to hear the authority behind the politeness. Do not be fooled by the softness. Let us practice this. Imagine you are in a meeting. You propose a new project. Your colleague says, "I see where you are coming from. However, I am a bit concerned about the timeline." Translation. They think your timeline is impossible. They are saying no. You need to pick up on words like concerned, issues, challenges, or hesitation. These are red flags. When you hear "I am a bit concerned," you should immediately ask, "What are your concerns?" Do not just smile and move on. Stop and address the hidden number. Business English is also full of its own idioms. We call this corporate jargon. You might hear phrases like touch base, circle back, low-hanging fruit, or get the ball rolling. Let us decode a few of these so you are ready when you hear them. If someone says, "Let us touch base next week," they mean, "Let us talk briefly," or have a short meeting. If they say, "Let us circle back to that," they mean, let us return to that topic later, usually because they want to move on right now. If they say, we need to get everyone on the same page, they mean we need to agree or have the same information. Hearing these phrases can be confusing if you visualize them. Touching a base, circling, pages, forget the images, focus on the function. These phrases are just shortcuts to move the meeting forward. Now let us imagine a conference call. This is one of the hardest listening tasks because the audio quality is often bad. You cannot see lips moving. People might cut out. In this situation, you must be brave enough to verify. We talked about verification before, but in business, it is essential. You can use phrases like, just to clarify, you want me to, or let me make sure I understood the next steps. Summarizing what you heard is the best way to prove you were listening. If you say so, the plan is to launch on Monday. Is that correct? You are doing two things. You are checking your understanding, and you are showing your team that you are engaged and responsible. Never leave a business call if you are unsure. It is better to ask a stupid question than to make a stupid mistake. Let us shift gears to the academic world. Lectures. Maybe you want to study at a university in an English-speaking country. Or maybe you just enjoy watching educational talks online. Academic English is very structured. It is like a building. It has a foundation, walls, and a roof. The speaker usually tells you exactly what they are going to build. They will start with an introduction that includes a thesis statement. The thesis is the main idea. Listen for phrases like, today, I will argue that. Or, the purpose of this lecture is to explore. This sentence is your anchor. Everything else in the hour-long talk connects back to this one sentence. In a lecture, the speaker uses signpost words to tell you where you are in the structure. We mentioned these in Part 2, but in academia, they are more formal. You will hear words like consequently, furthermore, in contrast, conversely. These are big words, but they are just traffic lights. Consequently means as a result. Furthermore means I am adding more information. Conversely means I am giving you the opposite view. If you hear conversely, get ready for the other side of the argument. If you miss these words, you might think the professor is contradicting themselves, but actually, they are just showing you a different perspective. A huge part of academic listening is note-taking. You cannot write down every word. If you try, you will fail. You have to filter. You have to listen for the keywords and the relationships. Listen for definitions. If a professor says the term photosynthesis refers to, write that down. That is a definition. Listen for lists. There are 3 main causes of the war. Write down 1, 2, 3. Listen for emphasis. If the professor slows down, speaks louder, or repeats a phrase, put a star next to it in your notes. That will be on the test. Repetition is the teacher's way of saying, this is important. Let us try a short simulation of a lecture. I want you to pretend you are a student. Grab a pen if you can, or just use your mind. I am going to speak about bees. Listen for the main points. Good morning, class. Today we are going to look at the decline of the honeybee population. This is a critical issue for 3 reasons. First, bees are essential for pollination of our food crops. Without them, we lose food security. Second, the decline is driven by pesticide use, which damages their nervous systems. And third, habitat loss due to urbanization is destroying their homes. Consequently, we need to rethink our agricultural practices. Okay, stop. What were the 3 points? Pollination and food, pesticides, habitat loss. And what was the conclusion? Change agricultural practices. Did you hear the structure? First, second, third. Consequently, it is a map. If you follow the map, you will never get lost. Now let us talk about high-stakes listening in everyday life. Medical appointments. This is serious. If you misunderstand the doctor, it can be dangerous. Doctors often use difficult terminology, but they usually explain it in simple terms afterwards. The trick here is to focus on the instructions: dosage, frequency, duration, how much medicine, how often, for how long. If the doctor says, take 2 pills twice a day for a week, repeat it back. 2 pills, twice a day, 7 days. Do not be afraid to ask them to write it down. In fact, in high-stakes situations, asking someone to write it down is a great listening strategy. It takes the pressure off your ears. Another high-stakes situation is receiving directions. You are lost in a city. You ask a stranger. They say go straight for 2 blocks, turn left at the bank, then take the second right past the bakery. Whoa! That is a lot of information. Use your body to help you listen. As they speak, turn your body or point your finger. Straight, left, right. Visualize the landmarks. Bank, bakery. If you miss one piece, stop them immediately. Sorry, turn left where? At the bank. Okay, got it. Do not let them finish the whole paragraph if you got lost at the first sentence. You need to build the path step by step. We have covered so many scenarios across this series. But now I want to talk to you about the future. I want to talk about the long game. Learning to listen is not something you finish. You do not get a certificate that says, now I can hear everything. It is a skill you maintain, like fitness. You might reach a point where you feel stuck. We call this the intermediate plateau. You understand 70 or 80%, but you just cannot seem to get to 90 or 100. You feel like you are not improving anymore. This is normal. In fact, it is a good sign. It means you have learned all the easy stuff. Now you are in the deep water. To break through this plateau, you need to change your input. You need to stop listening to things that are easy for you. If you understand a podcast 100%, it is too easy. It is good for relaxation, but it is not teaching you anything new. You need to find material where you struggle a little bit. We call this comprehensible input +1. It should be just a little bit above your level. Maybe watch a documentary on a complex topic like economics or philosophy. Listen to debates where people speak very fast. Push yourself into the discomfort zone. That is where the growth happens. Another strategy for the long term is to diversify your listening diet. Do not just listen to one type of English. Listen to old people. Listen to children. Listen to people from Scotland, India, Jamaica, South Africa. The more variety you feed your brain, the more flexible your hearing becomes. Think of your ears like a specialized instrument. You want to be able to play any song, not just one tune. I also recommend making English a part of your identity, not just a subject you study. Do not say, I study English. Say, I am an English speaker. Listen to things you actually love. If you love cooking, do not watch English lessons about cooking. Watch a real chef like Gordon Ramsay shouting in a kitchen. Yes, it is hard. Yes, there is slang and shouting, but it is real. If you love gaming, watch streamers on Twitch. If you love makeup, watch beauty tutorials. When you are interested in the content, you forget that you are listening to a foreign language. You just want to know how to bake the cake or how to beat the level. The desire to know overcomes the language barrier. Let us talk about the power of background listening. Some people say you have to focus 100% to learn. I disagree. Passive listening has value too. Having English radio or podcasts playing while you clean the house or drive to work is helpful. You might not catch every word, but your brain is soaking up the rhythm, the intonation, and the melody of the language. It keeps your ears tuned in. It is like keeping the engine warm. So when you do sit down to study actively, your brain is already in English mode. I want to give you a challenge for the next month. I want you to keep a listening journal. Every day, write down one new phrase or word you heard. Just one. It could be from a movie, a song, or a news clip. Write down the phrase and write down the context, who said it, and why. If you do this for 30 days, you will have 30 real-world examples. You will start to notice patterns. You will see how often certain words are repeated. This journal will be your trophy. It will show you how much you are consuming. As we come to the end of this series, I want to remind you of why you started. Why are you learning English? Is it for a better job? Is it to travel the world? Is it to make new friends? Is it to understand movies? Keep that goal clear in your mind. Listening is the bridge to that goal. Listening is how we connect with other humans. Speaking is important. Reading is important. But listening is how we show respect and understanding. When you listen well, you tell the world, I value what you are saying. You have the tools now. You know about connected speech. You know about the schwa sound. You know about keywords and stress. You know how to predict words and how to ask for clarification. You have the map. Now you just have to walk the path. There will be days when you feel like your ears are blocked. There will be days when you feel like everyone is speaking gibberish. That is okay. Be patient with yourself. Rest. And then try again the next day. I believe in you. I truly do. I have seen so many students start where you are and become fluent, confident speakers and listeners. It is not magic. It is just consistency. It is showing up day after day, just like you did for this series. You are already doing the hard work. You are already succeeding. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending this time with me. It has been an honor to be your guide through the world of English listening. If this series helped you, please share it with a friend who is also learning. Leave a comment and tell me which part was your favorite. And of course, make sure you are subscribed to English in advance, because even though this series is ending, our learning never stops. I have so many more lessons planned for you. So go out there and listen to the world. Listen to the music, the news, the conversations, the movies. Let the sounds of English fill your life. You are ready, you are prepared, and you are amazing. This is Jessica, signing off for the final time in this series. Take care of yourselves, be proud of your progress, and happy listening.